it's been a hectic day at the salon. I'm actually just finishing up. I was cleaning and disinfecting, and I thought, oh shit, I have this meeting, right?
Don't forget the.
So I had to hop back on, but but no, it's been we're just trying to gear up for the holidays. We're expecting another shutdown, so it's just trying to prepare for everything all at once, and it's a little irritating.
It's a lot going on, a lot of craziness, right? I think 2020, when we look at this year, it's a lot of stuff keeping us on our toes. It's this, it's that, and you know what? It's easy to get bogged down, right? There's a lot of negativity, the elections, this, that, whatever it is. Man, it can be tough, but we got to keep focused, right?
There have been so many curveballs, and that's an understatement, right? For our industry, we've just been going through all these obstacles, and because I'm also a coach and mentor, but just specifically for brow artists, and so I've just been trying to help them navigate as much as they can. Yeah. But it's really hard because state by state is different. You're either open or closed, and you have different modifications. So it's been a little tricky.
Hey, you know what? But here we are. We're still here.
We're still surviving.
Here we are, you and me, right? Talking about business, trying to make this world a better place, right? Educating and seeing what we can do based on our experience, and more importantly your experience with your industry.
I feel like, because I've been at this almost 11 years, right? And I've always been a specialist. So I didn't get into facials. I didn't get into any other aspects of the industry because I'm actually a cosmetologist, right? Okay. So I'm in the cosmetology sphere where, I'm licensed for almost everything under the sun. And you won't ever find me doing them, right? I hate hair. And I'm a 4th generation cosmetologist. So I went to school because of my family, right? I'm the only one in my family that does not do hair. And I'm the only skincare therapist. So it's really interesting.
Well, you know what? I just put a post on here recently that the jack of all trades, a master of none. Right? There's a lot of people. Maybe that's one of the areas we'll find out today after we discover more about you. Maybe that's one of the secrets to your success, because you specialize, because you stay in your lane, because you focus on this, and you're really, really, really good at doing the brows. Right? So
I really do think it's business suicide to offer every service you could think of because you're so focused on, well, I need to make money now.
Yeah.
And girls straight out of school are so green, right? It's a good mentality to have when you're just go, you're inspired, you're ready, you're just ready to get your feet wet, you're ready to start your career. But a lot of times they end up almost moving too quickly, right? They start way too quickly, way too fast. They offer this, this, and this, and this, and this, and they don't allow themselves to actually build each and every service, right? Yeah. And then they end up burning the candle at both ends. They burn out, they stress out, they go into debt, right? And it's because they're so focused on this money aspect that in their head, they think, straight off the bat, they're going to be a $1 million esthetician.
That's how it goes, right? They go into school, they're excited. I'm gonna do this, and they geek out.
They're gonna be superstars.
they're learning how to do this, and in a couple of short weeks, months, the process as you go through it. So here, before we get into this, because you're gonna be a fun one, I can tell already, Amber. Me and you're gonna have we're gonna have a blast. So tell me about you, your business. Let's start with you.
Oh God, that's a very broad question. So I have been in this industry since 2010. I actually started out managing high-end 5-star spas, right? And so I was actually the youngest on the team, but those experiences led me to get fed up, first of all, because I was tired of the facade, right? And competition is such a facade. And I am a firm believer in that, and I actually educate on that. But because I'm all about collab over competition.
Yes.
But when you're managing these spas and you're managing the department you're in, you soon start to figure out, right, with your experience, what you like and what you don't like. How the clients experience the service versus really bottom line what the spa expects you to provide, right? It's all about money.
Experience versus revenue, right?
Yeah.
The giving the client the experience, the customer service, the satisfaction versus, hey, that's great, but you're not hitting these metrics.
Yeah. Which is honestly horrible because we're not in this industry in the sense of just speaking for revenue. We're in it to give those clients that experience. That's what drives us and what keeps us passionate, is seeing how well our clients are taken care of. You know, the experience that they have at the end of the day is far more greater for retention than, oh, well, you didn't make this certain amount a day. So you have to work on your numbers. You know, and I used to get in trouble all the time. I hated retail. And it's so interesting because now I teach retail, right? I teach about multiple sources of income. But
yes, MSI, yep.
And I hated it. I hated retail because they were telling me I had to do it, knowing fully well the client may or may not need it. And it wasn't a specialized thing. It was just, hey, you got to add this to the ticket. So we make the numbers, right? So it wasn't even personable. And I think that's what really got under my skin.
So retail isn't a bad thing. It's the way they were pushing it to even maybe immorally sell to someone. Yeah, that's bad.
So I'll tell you, for instance, because I'm in the Bay Area. So I used to manage the skincare department in the Claremont, right? Mm-hmm. So I worked at the Claremont Hotel, which is in Berkeley. Huge. I mean, they've been around forever. They're historical. It's very much a place that you know of, right? And of course, they've, over the years, gone bankrupt, switched CEOs, you know, they just, you know.
under new management,
All the time. So when at the time when I was there, and I only lasted for a year, right? Because I just couldn't handle it. I chose my sanity over money. But one of the many things that they did that would irritate me to no end was it didn't matter what department you were in. If, say, you were checking your client out after an amazing facial, it didn't matter what you recommended to them for retail. So you could have recommended them shampoo because it's a full service spa, right?
Yep.
As long as they bought something and it didn't matter what it was, they were happy. So nail polish, right? And I would get so irritated, but they would sit there. And this is the problem with corporate versus specialized or mom and pop places. They really don't care. They really don't care. And it takes away from what salons and spas should be and what they used to be. You know, I grew up in a salon my whole life. I was sweeping hair at 5 years old because I was always in the shop. And you get to know your clients. You get to know every single person. My clients are so comfortable with me. They're a part of our family. You know, I'm part owner of Waxcraft. I own, you know, Amber the Lash and Brow Crafter, but I am part owner of our spot. And we tell them all the time, you're not just a number. You're a part of the Waxcraft family. And that's what clients want. You know, they want that feeling. They want that comfortability. They want to have a 5-star high quality service, but they want to feel at home. You know, they don't want to feel stiff. They don't want to feel like they can't be themselves. And so it's funny, I joke. I always tell them what happens at Waxcraft stays at Waxcraft. And they just love it. You know, the atmosphere and you set the tone. And my clients absolutely love that we're not overly professional, that we're also human. And they can relate to us.
Is that legal nowadays, Amber? Can we be human nowadays? Is that allowed?
I don't know. You know,
are we getting risque here on this interview? People might be listening. So we are allowed to be human. We're allowed to choose comfort, compassion, appreciation for our clients, with our clients, and not just look at numbers, not just profit. Of course, don't get me wrong, right? The profit is important, the numbers are important. However, to make that a priority, you know, put the buggy before the horse, I guess you could say, that's not how it works, right? That's not how you do a long-term business. And maybe one of the reasons El Clermonte has been El Bankrupto a couple of times, though, right? You can't retain customers by pushing too much.
Every client, and I feel like this has been the biggest advice that I could give anybody, and I always do, but you want to make sure that that client, once they walk in your room, that they feel like the only client you have, and you value them. You remember little bits and pieces of them, you know, and how could you not? You're spending all this time with them, right? And you get to know them. And of course, boundaries, right? I'm not saying, oh, you got to be besties with your clients. You absolutely don't be besties with your clients, but you be their shoulder to also cry on. You know, it is part of therapy. I guess we're just like free, non-licensed therapists, but really that relatable part is what really makes them come back. It doesn't matter what you charge for your service. I charge $350 for my volume full set of lashes. You know, it does not matter the price as long as they can relate to you, as long as they love you and know you and trust you. Trust, right? Huge. And if you don't have the trust, you'll never build a clientele. That's like a part of the foundation of building your clientele, you know?
Right. And you know what, the part that you just helped me remember is when somebody first walks into your business, you know, like, I don't know about you, but I've walked into some businesses where I walk in, the person that greets me doesn't even look at me. They're just, you know, they'll just say, hey, thanks for coming in. Please be seated. We'll be with you in a minute. And they're like looking over there, right? And I've been around a little bit where I've been treated super well. And a small thing like that, maybe I'm just petty. I don't know, right? But me as a client, I respect it when somebody looks at me, maybe smiles a little bit, says, hey, you know, welcome to our establishment. You know, we really appreciate you coming in. Please be seated. We'll be with you in 2 minutes or 1 minute. Or, I mean, that look, that acknowledgement is just so big to me. And to me, that's what business is. It's a lot of these small, respectful, like, I see you, I acknowledge you, I respect you. So every action, every word that we use, it's almost like portrays that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. You only get one chance at a first impression.
That's it.
You know, that's it.
You know, to make somebody feel that good. Right. So here, let me ask you a question. You've been in this industry for a long time, you know, the corporate style, the family style. Running a small business is not easy.
No.
Right? Running a small business, I mean, there's many a times I wish I worked for somebody else so I could call in sick, or I could do this, or I could just say, F this, I'm taking a 3-day weekend. But when it's your business, it's you on the hook. So you are responsible. You do this. Running a business is hard. We talked about some of like big business like that, but a lot of small businesses, the track record isn't very great. They say over the years, so many businesses go out of business, and the ones that are in business aren't profitable. So they're not out of business yet, but that doesn't mean they're making money. So why be a small business? Why start a small business? Why did you do it?
Well, I can only speak for myself, right?
Absolutely.
The reason why I started my own small business and decided to go out on my own wasn't because I knew better, right? Because I totally knew better. I was blessed to have business owners in my family on my side. My mom owned 4 salons, you know, so I had someone to look up to, and I had someone to be transparent with me, right? I totally had her on my side to tell me, hey, it's going to be hard, but it is what it is. If you're willing to do it, I'll be right there to support you, but this is your own learning step. This is your own stepping stone. I can't tell you what's right or wrong, you know? So she was always in my corner. But what really made me take the leap, and I mean, I guess you could say there's various reasons why, but I got tired of investing in other people.
Yeah.
instead of investing in myself. I got tired of putting all of my energy and effort into other businesses and other companies. And not that I didn't, not that I have any regrets, right? But I got tired of doing all of this work, but still not investing in myself. I mean, I was running short. Yes, I was making good money managing spas, but at the end of the day, that's all it was. And I had nothing for myself to really pride myself in. Like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I'm doing it the way I want to do it. Yes, clients are being treated the way that they should. Yes, they're getting good quality products because I know better. And they're just buying it for super cheap wholesale. Like, I was in it for not only myself, but for the better of clients, knowing that the places that I was working at was not genuine. Their integrity was off. They had no morals. They're they're investors, they're not on our side of the industry. And I think that's why eventually, and mind you, I could talk a whole lot about chains and chain businesses, but eventually they're going to die off. And it's because, clients are going to eventually take the leap, find a small business, find an actual specialist, and know that they didn't know what they had until they came in. They didn't know how shitty and basic whatever they were paying for, whether it was a massage envy.
Yeah.
Until they step through your doors, but you have to get them in your doors, right?
So quick question, and just to dive into that, just because I know a lot of solo estheticians that are in the business, cosmetologists that are in this beauty business, they work a job, and some like yourself, making good money, you can still have the money, have that fancy job, the title, etc., but still feel empty inside.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So how was that? Meaning, that emptiness that you felt, is that one of the main reasons that you'd say you started your business, because that there was no fulfillment from over that?
Well, there were many factors. I did not feel any sense of fulfillment. I didn't feel like my job was complete. I didn't feel like I did, and I gave my all to the client because I was told to do it certain ways when I knew better than that. Here's your protocol. Here's this service in a book, that tells you how to do it. And, they have all these manuscripts, but it's so robotic, absolutely robotic. And that's not how our industry is. And it's so far from that. And that's what really blows my mind, with these spas, because they have so much potential and they make so much money, but they could literally have better retention. And of course, they focus more on, tourism. Yes, they have a different business plan, but it really boggles my mind that, that they wouldn't focus more on how the client felt at the end of the day, right? Versus numbers. I mean, because money will come. Money
Absolutely.
told, here I am making the money that I do, and now I'm trying to recuperate, right? Because, it's shutting down, opening up, trying to recoup. How do you navigate through that, right? Which it's working, but it'll
you know what?
on.
For strong people that diversify their skill sets, their knowledge, it will always come back. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing this, is to show people how to build that strength in several areas. So going back to when you started your business, whenever a business is started, there's always things that are not foreseen. You don't anticipate this. There's problems or issues in the beginning stage. What were some of your hardships in the beginning when you first started the business?
Well, my hardships in the beginning might be different the most, because really
you had a great mentor. You had some great mentors and a background of a lot of this.
And I didn't stop there. I constantly continued. I've taken many courses, many mastermind courses, any course that I could take. I made sure I saved up for it because I knew investing in my business was going to come back tenfold. Absolutely. I will absolutely never say no to education. And it doesn't matter how long I've been in it. I don't know everything. And the moment you realize that you don't know everything, is the moment you will continue to grow. You know, you have to be open-minded, and it doesn't matter. I mean, what I did back then it would not be the same blueprint, for instance, as to what I would do now. It would not be this, it wouldn't be the same. When I fully, this is the funny part. When I first started on my own, and this was back when we were putting flyers on cars, okay? This was old school. And I mean, MySpace was still kind of around. Online booking was just.
Tom was your friend. Yes.
Okay? Like, we didn't have online booking. And if you did, it was like a salon software that, you know, you invested in. It was on a CD, you downloaded it, you know, but it wasn't nearly as accessible as we have now. And I mean, I was handing out business cards. Now I don't even use business cards. Everything's online. Everything's virtual. Yep. You know, so you have to adapt, you know, and even the advice I would give today wouldn't be the same back then. You know, I would have had no idea about half of what I've learned thus far.
So let's go into this advice that you're talking about. Like the advice when you started, it was a different time. One thing I always, I'm a huge fan of is this quote that's saying, if you stop learning, you know very well of a time that no longer exists. So basically time's changing, this technology is changing. When we were younger, whether we're talking about discs and AOL, you put that thing in going, before this internet, this crazy internet stuff, that's a whole different world of flyers and this and that. So if you look at now, if someone was going to start a business right now with now technology, what advice would you give? What are the things that you're like, you know what, if I was going to start right now, if you lost everything, if your business was, forget about COVID, but if you were shut down, you lost everything, and we're like, okay, Amber, you don't have your contacts, you don't have anything except the knowledge and experience that you've gained, and you're going to start over, what would you do?
That would actually be a tough question. That would actually be a tough thing to navigate through. And a lot of us are trying to navigate through that right now. And that's like super relevant because I've talked to other estheticians that are literally starting from scratch, lost everything, lost their business, trying to, gain back and retain the clients that they've had existing, but then also they need new clients because right now, currently some clients are still hesitant to come in. And I totally respect that. I mean, who can argue with being safe and healthy, right? Like who could even argue that, So if I was to start a business right now, the top three things that I would do ASAP, and even if you have a budget, or you can slowly get to that budget, but the first thing I would do is social media. Start getting as many posts out there to allow clients to get to know you.
Do you have a favorite? Are you more on towards Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or YouTube?
It's funny. I've generated so many advertisements through pretty much all platforms. I don't use TikTok. Maybe just the personal preference, but my demographics, it's not needed. I would say the top three social media platforms for me would be, one is Instagram because it's visual, absolutely visual. I've actually gained more clients with Instagram versus Facebook, believe it or not. And maybe it's my demographics, and maybe it's my ideal client and my niche. And, there's different things that go into that. But it would be Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. A lot of people forget Pinterest. And
I see Pinterest as my living room.
Right. But if you are really good at writing blog articles, if you are really good at optimizing your SEO, you definitely want a Pinterest. Pinterest will optimize your website. It'll optimize almost every single other platform because you can link it back to your Instagram. You can link it back to your Facebook, and it's also visual. So you would be highly surprised at how well Pinterest will optimize your business. And it's funny. I learned this 2 years ago. That was something that I was like, oh, I use Pinterest to look at like cozy fireplaces.
Yeah,
Like
get some.
a lot
I'm
of things
redecorating
for
my
me.
bathroom. Hey, Pinterest is
Yeah.
my go-to.
But Pinterest is huge. And a lot of professionals do not utilize it. And I'm pretty surprised at that. So
Great idea. Great idea.
it's
Great
helped my
tip.
business tenfold. Um, it totally links back to everything. So it kind of helps everything to stay connected, you know?
Okay.
But social media would be my number one, definitely getting on there, sharing your story, tell clients about you, tell them everything about you. You don't have to get absolutely too personal, but you need to show them that you're relatable, and not every client's going to be your client. And that doesn't matter.
So
But
here, Amber, why don't people do that? Like this is one of my personal pet peeves. I will go on someone's social media page, Facebook or IG or what have you. They do some great, before and after pictures. They'll, share a story. They'll do a video of their room and all of this and say, hey, 20% off our specials. But what you just said to me is so big, because I want people to know who I am, right? My
right,
backstory. So it's relatable, so people can relate, right?
right.
Why do you feel maybe some people aren't doing that? And what are they missing out on by not doing that?
Well, it's kind of a catch-22, right? Because naturally, as business owners, we're conditioned to be very professional. You service the client, you give them the client experience, and that's where it should end. And I feel like we're in a totally different time now, to where clients are looking for relatable people,
Yeah.
and you cannot build trust without it. And I speak about trust all the time, but you can absolutely not build trust with your clients if they don't know who you are. And at the end of the day, if they don't know your story, and if you're not personable, well, then you're replaceable. They can go to so and so down the street for a facial. And I'm not saying to focus on that, because you should never focus on what so and so is doing down the street. But it just kind of goes to show that, when you tell your story, whether it's, hey, this is what I like to do in the meantime, this is me on the weekends furthering my education. Hey guys, this is what's new. This is what I'm incorporating in my business. Why am I doing that? Because I love what I do. And then that leads to education, right? And then that leads to
Absolutely.
product knowledge. But you got to get them in the door, and you got to show them why you're different. And honestly, one of the biggest mind-blowing eye-openers recently for me was taking because of course we were at home. I was at home for 8 months. Okay. So from March up until October, here I was with all this time. So what do you do with all this time, right? Aside from my child, of course. But she kept me busy. But you invest in your education,
Yeah.
right? What do you do? I took so many classes to keep me going, because that's how I thrive. That's how I, stay mentally sane. But I did take the complete spa business regimen, and it was a very extensive course. So believe me when I say that, there's over 100 and something modules. It took me a whole entire week, but it was mind blowing. And it made me realize that I needed to reanalyze my whole entire business plan.
Wow.
So yeah. And for me to say that's pretty big, considering I always do go back to, like, if it's not broke, don't fix it, like add to it. But like, I have my foundation, but no, it totally made me reevaluate, and it was an eye opener. And so I'm currently working on that, and implementing new tools and a few tricks here and there, because what do you do if you're constantly opening and closing, right? Because I do feel like we're going to end up shutting down again soon. So
It's
it's
going to
like,
be.
how do you navigate? How do you stay afloat? So my goal right now is to not necessarily get back to the income that I was just yet, because that's going to take time. So I had to refocus on, okay, well, what are the other revenues that I can focus on, right? Like, how do I stay afloat and keep my business thriving to get through this pandemic, right? And I feel the biggest tool and an avenue that I've been using is just trying to optimize my Google as much as possible. Like Google reviews, Yelp. I have my opinions about Yelp, but just trying to optimize my Google.
But the clients don't have the opinion, right? I mean, like
yeah, like they don't know better about Yelp.
They just say, "Oh, yo, more reviews, more that that's corporate as well." I'm with you. I feel you on that. I feel you.
You do that. But really building my subscription list, building my email list. Here I am posting on social media, giving little tidbits. You could probably go to my Instagram and kind of see that I'm slow and steady with my Instagram right now, but that's because I have other projects I have to complete. But slow and steady, just keeping your audience intrigued and engaged is the most important part. It does not matter how many followers you have, right? It's all about the engagement. And that actually boosts your SEO too, and actually boosts your algorithms for Instagram. So working on social medias.
How do you keep people engaged? I mean, one thing I always look for nowadays, Amber, like I kid you not, this world that we live in, sometimes I just feel there's just so much fakeness out there. We live in a world of filters.
Yeah.
Right. Where it's just crazy. And don't get me wrong, like I'm a self-conscious guy. Like it's taken me a while to kind of sort of get comfy to even do this with you. It's like I look at myself like, God, I look like that. It's like, God, I sound like that. So it's that self-conscious part. But now that I realize that at some point, as I get older, it's like, this is who I am. I can't just bury myself and hope no one sees the real me. And that authenticity really pays off. Like, it's not about the filter. It's not about being perfect. It's not about having this perfect little square rectangle on my posts with this and this and everything perfect. It's the imperfections that we are that I think help build our authenticity and people relate to. Right? Does that make sense? So not trying to be that way.
Clients don't want perfect. They want actually far from perfect. They want to, when they look at you, they want to see that you're not sitting there prim and proper. You don't, like for me, I don't necessarily have to have a full face of makeup on, but I need to look presentable.
Yes.
But I need to look like myself. I don't need to look overdone. Clients know when you try too hard, right? Yep. And that's not you. And as long as you stick to who you are, you will totally create that brand identity. You will totally create who you are and what you stand for and what your business stands for, but they need to get to know that. And they won't get to know you if you sit there and put all these filters on and try and look perfect, because you don't have to. They look for normal, they look for human, and what is normal, right? But they look for you, for who you are, whether you're down to earth and you're laid back and you're just like, hey guys, how was your weekend? This is what I've been up to. You start engaging, start asking questions. That's how you get people to engage.
What's going on with them? What's the tip that they want? What's an area that they have concern with? Their skin, their lashes, their brows, whatever.
Talking about themselves
all day long.
Especially women. It does not take that much. I mean, look at me, right? I talk a lot, but it does not take a lot for women to talk. You just have to ask the right questions, and then they have to be genuine. You can't just sit there and make small talk like, oh, hey, what's up? How are you doing? It's like, no, how was your weekend? Did you do anything fun and exciting? Get nosy. They want you to get nosy. They just don't
like,
say
what?
it.
And then what? No, come on, really?
Right. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, really, being relatable. Being relatable would be the number one thing to focus on, especially if you're starting your business. Start putting yourself out there. And yeah, for those that are self-conscious, I didn't have confidence overnight. Confidence was built. And that's because I learned how to own my room. I learned how, my treatment room. I learned how to own my business. I learned how to I knew how to build my strengths to overcome those weaknesses, and again, taking courses. I mean, taken a lot of digital marketing courses, and, you know, you invest in yourself so that you can invest in others. And that's really what it is.
No, and you know what? That's huge. I truly believe the more prepared you are, like the more you just know, like when you know your space, it's kind of like driving a car. The first time I remember the first time I drove a car, or the first test I took in my car, I was horrible. I mean, I was so bad. It was just I don't even want to relive that moment. Just you know, you're safer on the street than on the sidewalk, I guess you could say. But over time, you get a little bit better. In the beginning, we all suck at the business we do or the message it is. But you prepare, and you know what? It's like it's okay. I'm allowed to stink. I'm trying, and I really admire somebody when somebody's stepping out of their zone a little bit, and you know their message might be off, or what have you. But you know what, I go, you know what, I admire that person for doing that, and I just take my hat off saying, you know what, good for you. Right. So what are some other tips, trick that someone starting off, what else would you go, you know what, these are some other things that maybe pop up in your mind of things, and also pitfalls to avoid?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, you know, social media would be number one. Definitely working with a coach and mentor is absolutely number two. Absolutely. If I had to restart my business today and I'm starting from scratch, regardless if I had a previous business or not, if I was just starting and here it is, I would absolutely hire a coach and mentor, someone that had experience and expertise. And again, it's all about investment, right? You definitely want to invest yourself so that you can invest in your business and then you can grow. You know, not everybody is meant to have all the answers and all the
Yeah.
questions, but if you're looking at specifics, right? Like if you're looking at, okay, I need to make this amount of money per day in order to make this amount of money per month so that I can reach my goal at the end of the year. Well, you can't necessarily do that alone, right? And if you're not completely clear on a business plan, or if you don't know where to start on how to getting clear on goals, absolutely a coach and mentor. I've had many, many phenomenal, amazing coaches and mentors over my lifetime. Absolutely love them. I am so thankful for them, and I always give credit where credit's due. And I could honestly say one of the biggest mentors was Maxine Drake. Huge. Absolutely love her. Currently working with Rachel Merrill, which is why I recommended him. I've honestly taken blueprint classes like with Brendan Burchard. I actually
Right.
stepped out of my industry,
Good for
right?
you.
I also took Jeff Walker's PLF. I've
Mm-hmm.
done many product formula courses and classes, which a lot of our industry has no idea about. You know, they're not taught as much digital marketing, right, as they should. And that should be a part of anybody's business plan. That should be a part of your business 101 is digital marketing. How else are people going to know you? How are they
No.
going to know you're here? And
So
how do
so
you
here,
even begin to start
you know
that?
what, a lot of people, like we'll talk about this, we can talk about the importance of marketing, because one huge area that when people go to esthetician school, cosmetologist, you know, beauty school, whatever school you go into, one
Right.
of the areas that I feel they are the weakest in, that they just I don't even think they even touch, is marketing and running your business.
It was never taught.
Right? Okay, so wait a minute. You know, once you learn the skill, you know how to do brows, lashes, face, hair, whatever. We got this, and here you go into the world. So when I went to daycare, then kindergarten, from all the way till now, I guess you could say, you know, we've always had a mentor, a teacher, an instructor, someone to guide us, right, throughout this whole process. And once we start, and I'll say we, but I have mentors just like you, that once we get to this stage where now finally we're on our own, it's the biggest stage of our life, because now it's our investment, our money, my future, my family's future, my kids' future. People go, okay, I don't need a mentor no more. I'm going to go all by myself. I got this. Right. And so in your industry, let's just say you never had a mentor. right? Let's just say you didn't do all this. You got out of, your schooling, your education, and you go, I'm going to start a business, right?
Right.
And you decided to do your business and no mentoring, no nothing. How much do you think it would have cost you? How much money would you have lost? Meaning, how much money, more money were you making a year? Let's just say roughly, that because you did all this stuff, you were able to capitalize on.
Ooh,
Roughly,
I
ballpark.
would have lost a lot of money. I would
Ballpark.
have lost so much money. And I couldn't even give you a number for that
Let's
because I can't
give me a
even
number.
imagine.
Roughly, are we talking 50,000? Are we talking 100,000?
Oh, more than that.
Okay,
Absolutely more than that. I
so
would say at
here,
least 500.
so
Yeah. I mean,
a
minimum.
good mentor, if you invest in somebody that again, you're working with somebody that's good, that's reputable, that can help you, that's been there, done that, can show you step by step, hold your hand along the way, and it will add an additional $500,000 to somebody's business. Why don't more people do it?
I don't think they realize how foolproof it is, right? I don't think they understand that, when you're working closely, and maybe it's fear, maybe it's unknown, maybe they don't quite know where to start. A lot of it,
It's, yeah, absolutely.
you
And
know,
the money, people don't want to shell out that money, right?
it's
Some people
scary.
consider it money, not investment, or what have you. But some people don't have it. I mean, there's all these reasons, but we're talking $500,000 here.
So I'll tell you this quick story as to how I became a lash artist, right? Because I was always Amber the Lash and Brow Crafter, but lash actually was added later on, right? And so when I decided, because I was always a facial hair removal specialist, right? I always specialized in brows, but I will tell you this, because at that point I was still struggling, right? I was still building a business, building the foundation, finding what works and what doesn't work, right? So this kind of goes back to that. And one of the many things I did was I looked at different lash classes, right? Courses from, very experienced artists. I wanted the best of the best. I didn't know if I was going to be able to afford it or not at the time, but I wanted the best of the best. And I was doing all this research and I thought, okay. And I think back then my first ever class was $1,200, right? It was like a $1,200 introductory lash course for just classic lashes. And I was just like, God, that's $1,200.
Yeah.
How am I going to do this? Now, I'm not saying this is the correct way to do it, but I thought, okay, how am I going to save up for this? Well, that may not happen for a while, but I'm so passionate about this. So guess what? I'm going to go invest. I'm going to take out a credit card. Totally take out a credit card. I'm thankful I did in many, many ways. And I know some people think that's debt. Some people think, oh my God, Amber, why did you take out a credit card? I paid that back within 2 days of starting my lash business.
Wow.
And it was because I took that leap of faith. Right. And yeah, I mean, even back then, I'm like, God, I'm so stupid. Like, why am I doing this? Like, how can I be so passionate about something? I don't even know if I'm going to love it yet. I don't even know if I'm going to be into lashes. I've always taken classes not knowing whether I was going to love it or not. And if I'm not fully in love with the service, and if I can't kick ass at a service, I'm not going to provide it. I don't care how much I've invested in it. Because
Do you ever feel you learned something from a class, even though, let's just say, you weren't going to do that service or even that whole training? Because a lot of times, like I'm a huge nerd. I read books all the time, and I don't have to read a whole book. What I'm looking for is one or two ideas that maybe I can apply in my business, or something that's like, what, I didn't think of it that way, or that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, with any class I've taken, whether I've decided to implement that in my business or not, I've always taken at least 2 to 3 things away from every class. There's always something to learn. And it may be like a blessing in disguise where you walk into this class, with the expectation you're going to learn something, but then you end up coming out with something totally different. And that's happened to me many times, actually, where I've taken a class, paid the money, and I thought, oh, it's a write-off regardless. At least I took the chance. I don't like what ifs. I don't like, the whole, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda,
Yeah.
And so, no, I've had that happen many times where I'm like, well, I didn't quite like that course, but here I am with, this. So it was a positive outcome.
And you know what? You never, and the thing is here, you don't know what class when you take a class, if it's going to have that nugget, right? So it's not like you don't take one class and go, well, that class sucked and I'm not going to take classes anymore. You take one, okay, that one didn't really work out. You take another one, you take another, then boom, this one gold, right? This one class, because you kept going, because it's an investment in yourself. And I think, to me, that's what business is like. To me, like I cannot tell you, Amber, how many times I've had a client in my business. So one of my businesses I do is I sell technology equipment to the government. So I work with like NASA, Lockheed Martin, all these, just wonderful, wonderful entities. And these guys and gals, they spend millions and tens of millions of our tax dollars to send rockets to space and find aliens on Mars, etc. And I cannot tell you how many times I've called people or I've worked with clients where this client, it didn't work out. This one, but this one, oh my God, this client gave me 20 referrals, right? And when I look at the beauty business, to me, that's what every client is worth. It's like, is this the one? Is this the one? Right? Because one client, and I see you nodding your head, right? One client can almost help set up your business. Tell me about that.
Well, I know the negative effects of that.
And that too. Tell me both sides of that coin.
Well, okay, so there's a saying, right? It'll take one client to tell 5 of their friends that you were amazing, but it'll also take that same client to tell 25 people how bad you were, right? So, and that's not to say this is the one and only client, but it goes back to the, first impressions. But I can honestly say this. I've had clients, and mind you, I protect my energy and my space. Not every client's my client. Absolutely not. Not to say I fire them. I just kind of redirect them to a different artist that can take care of their needs. So I'm not firing the client. I'm just saying, hey, we may not be a best fit, but let me refer you. And that was the biggest thing. And this is probably why I've always kept my reputation. I never left a client hanging. It didn't matter if it was a bad experience or not. I have never left a client without a provider. And that goes back to the whole networking, right?
And that's very honorable. That's the right thing to do, right?
Absolutely.
You don't just fire and be like, and just don't answer. It's still customer service.
And clients love honesty.
Yeah.
Especially women. I mean, women are women. And, there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way. Now, could I sit there, get all petty and be like, no, you need to leave? Absolutely. What good is that going to do?
No.
I'm still going to tell you why, and say, hey, maybe we're just not a good fit. I want you to be able to love and trust who you're getting a service by. And I just feel like you're just not going to be satisfied. And I want you to get your money's worth. So here is a list of recommendations. And then that way it kind of sets that tone to where, first of all, she doesn't feel like you're getting rid of her. But then also, it kind of sets that tone to where she really has nothing bad to say about you. How could she complain?
Yep.
You're not going to get a bad review from it.
They will blast you, right? If you do that the wrong way, or you try to, tell them the right, what they did wrong and how it should have been done. Dude, we're grown-ups, right? I don't want to baby somebody and this is the right way to do it. And this is why you're not perfect. It's like, you know what? There's a nice, honorable way to back up, to move it on. Because in the world we're in now, it's, people will blast you on Google, on Yelp or whatever.
Right. Well, and there's different energy right now currently because of COVID and everything. I have heard stories of some professionals sharing their experience with new clients in the sense of these clients feel entitled as if we need them.
Yeah.
which isn't wrong, but it's not necessarily right.
I don't
Um,
agree. I don't
and,
agree with that,
and,
but
and
it's like,
it's not to say that we don't need all the support we can get,
yeah.
but I would choose respect over that. And, so it just, but it's definitely really very weird energy currently, and trying to navigate through. I hate saying the new normal. I don't even like calling it that, but I guess it's technically what most would probably call this, is like the new normal, right? And
Until
it's
the
not
next
here
new
to
one
stay.
comes, right?
Right. So it's like, okay, well, how do we do this now? What's plan A, B, and C? You need to have more than one plan. That's
Yes.
absolutely realistic. What's going to happen tomorrow if, say, one of your revenues dropped like it did?
What if they only
What
had one
income
revenue,
source?
right?
Exactly. And so
And
you have to build.
so talk to me about that. I think one reason the beauty industry was just slammed, right? Like, where are you? What city are you in?
So my business is actually in Pleasanton.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm like right over the SF bridge.
Dude, we're looking at houses out there. We were just there a couple weeks ago because we're in Petaluma right now. So we're going to be
Oh no,
moving
you
out
need
to
to come out this
Pleasanton.
way. You
Yeah.
absolutely need to come out this way, especially for, like, if you're buying, well, it depends on if you're buying your forever home or for an investment, it really depends. But either way, you guys could easily move out here. It's very similar to Petaluma. Absolutely.
And that's why it's that. And plus my mom lives in Livingston over by Turlock. So
Mhm.
it's just halfway
Okay, sir.
through. Right. So yeah. So we were just
Also,
out
have
there.
you lived in Tracy?
Yeah, I like green because like Petaluma, Sonoma, this greenery area, right?
Yeah.
Tracy's a little bit too valley. Pleasanton is just enough out. But that's what I was talking about. A lot of these businesses that were hit hard is because they were, and here like in Petaluma and Sonoma, we're surrounded by spas, and I was telling my wife, I go, babe, people from Paris come to Sonoma for vacation. People from London, all over the world. This is wine country that we're chilling in. But I go, the reason so many have been affected is because they were doing great. They were super comfortable. Their books were booked. But once COVID came and it kind of swooped that away, they were always relying on that one stream of income, right? They didn't
Yeah.
have an online. Their retail was limited to clients coming in and then maybe doing an upsell. So how is that weird?
And I feel like with business savings, nobody ever expects to be shut down for months on end. Absolutely not. This hit almost every one of us. So to say I wasn't affected, that was complete bullshit. But in reality, your business savings may not have been as lucrative as you thought it would, especially if you have employees. It all depends on your setup. It's just my business partner and I, we're a co-op. We're totally set up completely different. And I never wanted employees. That's totally not my business plan. And I'm totally content with that. But for those that do have employees, I mean, other than unemployment, I can't even imagine what that looks like, because now they're also required to pay, like, say, if one of their employees, tests positive,
Right.
you're paying for their quarantine. You're paying, out for a lot of this. And not to say that it's not worth it, and not to say that, they don't value their employees, but how do you get ahead when you've just been pushed all the way back? It's like now you're allowed to open and now you're trying to recoup, but you can't even recoup, so it's kind of like,
it is tough. You are, like you said before, you are starting again. But this is my focus is, and when I look at industries, because I'm heavy into of course the sales, the marketing aspect of it. Let's just say before COVID, let's just say I own a salon, and before COVID I was doing well. I was posting on Instagram twice a week. I was posting on Facebook twice a week, and that's just my marketing strategy, and I'm doing fine. COVID happened, just complete shift. The only difference I see that I appreciate is when a business says, okay, this has happened to my business. Let me realign my strategy. But what I see a lot of businesses doing are marketing as if COVID never happened, meaning they were posting twice a week before, they're posting twice a week now. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like all this has happened. When something hits you this hard, you have to amplify. You know, your bike is now going uphill. You can't be pedaling the same speed that you were pedaling before. There's the amount of work has increased. And that's the part that I'm hoping a lot of businesses will jump on, saying, okay, hey, I do need to get more onto online or retail. I've been speaking to a lot of wonderful, wonderful gals that are pushing education. And now, you know, they have like a subscription based this or that. So a lot of people are pivoting and using this technology, saying, okay, we weren't prepared for it then, but we're going to get prepared for it now.
Right. And I feel like it's a total learning curve.
Oh,
Yet
yeah.
I've seen a lot of professionals pivoting, saying, hey, this is like do or die, you know, for my business. You know, we got to survive and thrive.
And that heart, that
told them
hurts, right? I mean,
it
when I
does.
look at these businesses that, you know, their lives, they got family, the stress. I mean, I personally, maybe because I am emotional that way, but I
Mhm.
see that, I hear the stories, and it's like, you know, my heart goes out to so many people. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start this, is saying, you know what are some ideas? What are some things that maybe, you know, that nugget of knowledge from your trainings and all of this stuff that you've been able to learn from, saying, you know what, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can try that.
You know, and it's interesting because what may work for me may not work for other estheticians,
Absolutely.
right? Like I can give all the advice in the world, and I do. I share my knowledge. You know, I want everyone to succeed, and there's no reason why any other brow artist shouldn't have the business that I have, right? Like the goal is for all of us to succeed. And I could easily give you all these pointers, right? And it may or may not help, but you won't know until you do it, right? It's like
That's it.
you have to take the leap. Just like with investing in a coach or mentor, or, you know, with whatever avenue I was trying to build at that point, right? Because there's so many different parts of a business. And you almost need a mentor and coach for all, but taking baby steps, right? Taking one little step at a time, you know, tackle one part, whether it is marketing, tackle the next part, which is, okay, now I got my marketing down. Now how do I get my numbers up? Right? Tackle that part of it. You know, it goes in a series, and that's how you really build a successful business. It doesn't happen completely overnight or
Right.
within 6 months. I wish, I would be
It's like,
probably a millionaire by now if that was
you're like,
not
woo, it
realistic.
all. But I
No?
think that's one of the areas that about you and your business that appeal to me, is just to set focus, right? Staying, you know, you did this one thing and that's it. And right now, the words that you said are perfect. So for example, let's just say this week, all the businesses do is focus on how can I get more clients through my door. The second day, the second week, they focus on, okay, how can I maybe upsell them something, a product or something? So just work on one thing at a time and just focus on it. Because I think sometimes it's like when I start a diet. I'm starting a diet. It's like, okay, I'm starting a diet tomorrow. I'm going to eat nothing but broccoli. I'm going to run 100 miles and do this and like 50 things. And then I'll do it one day. And then I'll fall on my butt, right? As opposed to the baby steps that you recommend, saying, hey, you know what? This day, this week, you just focus on this one thing. Let's just work on that one thing, because I think we overestimate what we can do short term, and we underestimate what we can do in the long term. So if we think long term, we can do so much more instead of just trying to do so much up front, right? That's tough.
And you need also someone to keep you accountable. I
Yes.
feel like one of the many things that I struggled with, like as far as strength and weaknesses go, one of the many things was me getting too comfortable, right? Like I see in my books, I see in my schedule, everything's running smoothly. And you almost get to the point of, I can relax a little bit, which is
That's
nice.
that's dangerous though, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that's how you get too comfortable.
Yeah.
And I swear to you, and I love her to pieces for it, but my biggest mentor for accountability is Dayla Antoinette. And she is a celebrity lash artist. I actually use her lash line exclusively.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been for the past 6 years. But she, if I called her today, if I texted her, oh, she'd whip my butt. She would be here. And we have the same mindset. We're on the same level of, you know, what we're doing and getting clear on our goals. And she's actually a neighboring business. You know, some clients call me and think she's my competitor, and we laugh about it. But
Yeah.
I could literally call her and text her and ask her anything. And she gives it to me like super, super transparent. And she holds nothing back. And I honestly feel everyone needs an accountability partner like that, because I was getting comfortable. I was like, oh, Dayla, I got this. And here she is saying, oh, no, you can't get too comfortable. And she's working on like her 5th course. And I'm thinking, whoa, like, how are you having all this time and energy? She's like, I never got comfortable. And look at, you know, she's like, look at your ass getting all comfortable. And I'm like, yeah, well, I guess.
You too. No.
Yeah.
But see, and that's wonderful, because so many times I've had other people, mentors, etc., see more in me than I saw in myself. Does that make sense? Like somebody, like, let's just say, you know, if your mentor, if she was doing all this, you know, because she's doing it, she knows you could do it, or she knows what you're capable of doing. And sometimes we don't see that. Like, you know, if my whole life I've never made $40,000, if that's just what I'm used to seeing, you know, my neighbors make 40 grand, my family's made 40 grand, this person, that's where I'm stuck. Right. But somebody like you comes around, or one of these mentors comes around and say, you know what, hey, you can do this. I've done it. And what I can do, anyone can do. And you kind of reach and pull these people up. These mentors, that's what they do. They can pull you from that box, that glass ceiling you put on yourself, and release you and show you what you're capable of. And to me, that's what a lot of people are struggling with, because they don't see that mentoring as a valuable tool. It's more like, hey, I got 20% off on a facial. Like, no, you need a mentor. Did I say that?
Well, I mean, our industry does have quite a few stigmas that need to kind of, you know, fully fade out. And one of the stigmas I feel is, and that's a touchy subject, I guess, for most
touch it. Today we are touching touchy subjects.
But, you know, honestly, there's quite a few stigmas in our industry where, you know, not only is it an ego, I mean, because egos will get in the way of your accountability. You cannot be accountable if you have an ego, right? And so when you think you know it all and you're not open-minded and you're sitting back thinking, oh, I got this, I can do this, I can go on YouTube and learn this, that's where you fall, right?
Dangerous.
And it is. It's a slippery slope. You think YouTube University is going to save you, but YouTube University and investing in you, right? So it's definitely one of those stigmas that I've seen, and I'm hoping it fades over time, because there's coaches and mentors like us that are pushing professionals to collaborate with each other, mastermind together,
Absolutely.
help each other out, figure this out together. You know, invest in a coach and mentor to help you get there, but don't be afraid to ask. Don't sit there with your ego thinking, you know, any questions off limits.
You gotta be coachable. You gotta be coachable. If I do not know one single person that has a big ego, right? They're either doing really, really good. Like if someone's killing it and they have an ego, that person could be a jerk, but hey, they're doing it. I respect them. They can. I know people like that have a huge ego, but
right?
They're killing it. And I'm like, you know what? You're a jerk, but I respect your skill and your ability and your success. But if someone is not at that level and they're, you know, at that 40,000 level or whatever level it is that they want to get out of and grow, but they have an ego. If someone's not coachable, it's hard to, you can't, you know, what's that saying? You can't, if there's a cup full of water, you can't keep putting your knowledge and water into their cup, because it's going to flow over until they empty their cup, until they empty their ego, they let it go and say, I'll listen to you. I'll listen to you. Please teach me. And those are the people I love.
And honestly, you won't ever reach success if you don't fail first.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as success without failure. And I've always learned that. You know, every avenue of my business has had to fail, not miserably, but it had to not work in order for me to change it. And had it not, right, I would have gotten comfortable. I would have been like, oh no, it's working perfectly fine. You know, most of us are driven when things don't work, right? And sometimes that's what it takes, to where you're like, okay, I'm at my wit's end. You know, not to say you're hitting rock bottom, right? Like that's so extra to say, but
there's still
it
room to
really
go
is.
under
Like
that, people.
you haven't
There's
hit
people
rock
that
bottom.
dig. There's people that hit rock bottom and kept digging. It's like, let that ego go.
Yeah, I mean, it could lead to that if you don't recognize it, and you have to recognize where you need growth, and you have to recognize your weaknesses.
Yeah.
The things that I'm not good at, I hire others to help me with those things, and I'm not afraid to ask.
Yeah.
I absolutely invest in others because they're willing to invest in me, and that's how you grow. You know, and that goes back to the whole coach and mentor thing. You know, the biggest investment I could ever suggest someone to invest in is a coach and mentor. You know, put all the Facebook, Instagram ads aside, put the marketing money aside for a second, hold on to that, and invest in your education and in someone that knows this stuff, to where you're not, you know, creating a headache constantly because you're stubborn and you're trying to figure it out yourself. That's not helping anybody.
Spending hours on YouTube, going to the next video, go, what's SEO? Okay, let me SEO. Okay, what's a post that can do? It's a lot of work, right? It's crazy the amount of, before we didn't have enough knowledge, we didn't know what to do. Now we have too much knowledge, and it's hard to know what's real, right?
And I'm so self-sufficient, right? And I am stubborn. And I have had times where, I mean, and it took me twice as long to learn this. So don't get me wrong. Like it took me twice as long to learn how to optimize my own website, SEO, you know, everything that I learned aside from being taught, because I had to figure it out, right? Yep. And it took me twice as long when I could have easily asked for help, but I was stubborn. I had to do it myself. I'm a woman. I'm self-sufficient.
I got this.
I got this.
You got the woman. I saw a lot.
And honestly, you know, even looking back now, that was a mistake. Okay, I took a lot of time, and not to say that I didn't, you know, learn from that. Right? It was a total learning experience. And you learn something from everything, whether you succeed or not succeed in what you're doing. But that was like I should have hired someone for that. I should have asked questions because I ended up spending too much money, you know, and it's because I was stubborn. I was absolutely stubborn, you know, so I literally had to let my guard down.
And I think that's one of the big things, is like, let the ego go. You know, be susceptible to learn, to change. But more importantly, like I look at people like yourself and other mentors that are out there that are out there that are eager to help, right? And to help guide people. Because I think, like, for example, like me, the older I get, the more I want to give back. You know, it's like, you know, yeah, you know, it's cool. You know, the money's always going to be a thing. Business is a cool thing. Got some of this stuff under control now. Got these plates spinning, and they're doing okay. Now, how can I help? Because like you, I've had some really good mentors that helped me in some of the roughest times of my life, where I didn't know what I was capable of, and somebody believed in me. Somebody saw in me something, and they offered their hand and helped me out, and they taught me about this world and business and what was possible. And it's just one of those things, like, you know, this person did this for me and changed my life, and that it's now time for me to give back. Does that make sense? Do you ever feel that way, where it's like, you know what, we are fortunate, we are lucky, and if we can just help people achieve some level of success where we were a benefit to them, then we did our duty.
I can't literally hold any of this information to myself. I can't hold all of this education just for myself. What would be the point? You know, keeping all of this in when I could be helping others. Of course, I would choose the latter. You know, of course, I would say, hey, let me save you a headache. This is what I did. Or maybe try this. I'm not saying it's going to work, but try it. You never know. It might be the whole little sweet spot that you found for your business that decided to just flourish, you know? And that was the one thing that I guess it was already in me. Not that I've always promised myself to do it, but I've always been a firm believer in giving back, and I've always given back. I've coached and mentored so many artists for free, because at the end of the day, it was me as a fellow artist helping another artist. It had nothing to do with the money aspect, and maybe that was a stupid business move, but whatever. At the end of the day, I helped someone else succeed. And that's my karma. That's my energy. That's what I believe in. You know, it's giving back. So at the end of the day, that's what we're all geared towards, you know, giving back. We can't sit here and just hold all this, you know, amazing, you know, knowledge to ourselves.
You know, you know, and you know, I think you're right. You know, we're almost like a conduit. Like we got it from somewhere, right? And we kind of used it in our experiences, in our business. And now it's like energy. It's going to flow in and now it's going to flow out. So if we can share that with people, that will help, and by all means, right? But like you said, I can only give advice based on what's worked for me. And I can share with people my experiences. I did this, I got this result, give it a try. It may work for them. It may not work for them. I don't know. Right. But it's just a matter of, and I think you hit it hard. It's like, give it a try. Maybe it'll work. Right. And that's the business we're in. It's like the maybe this is the one. Maybe this is the one.
You won't know the equation unless you try and put it together.
Yeah.
You're not really going to know the $1 million question or the $1 million answer to that question if you're not trying to get to that answer, right? And it's like, you know, you may try different things, you may have different solutions, but you won't know until you literally put in the work. And you gotta try. You have to absolutely try and not give up.
On paper, everything works. On paper, you write it down, go, I'm going to do this, and then this, and then this, and then it's like, no, that's great until you try. Paper is just, you know, it's just not it, right? You got to put it out there. And sometimes it's scary. I know that. Sometimes it's scary to try something new, to take someone's word. One thing I tell people is like, sometimes I don't have confidence in a project I'm working on, something new, something I haven't done before, that I have this fear. But like, for example, let's just say I was going to do lashes or brows, right? I don't have confidence in my lash and brow skills. But if I'm working with you and I know you were able to do this, it's like, okay, I don't have confidence in myself, but do I got confidence in you? As you as my mentor? I don't need to believe in me. I need to believe that you can help me, that you're willing to help me, and I can trust you. Because if I got that, then I can let go, you know. And I think one of the best examples I heard is like when we drive a car at night, our headlights only see so far, only see 50 feet. But we see that 50 feet and then we drive ahead, we go another 50 feet, or we go another 50 feet. So by doing this 50 feet at a time, we reach our destination. It's by trusting what's in front of us. And to me, someone like yourself that's willing to help, that to show me the next 50 feet at a time, because I know you, I can trust you, and you have the knowledge, that's so valuable.
And you know, it's just, honestly, it's a mindset. Yeah. And I know that's the simplest reaction to anything and everything, but it's true, you know. And not only just for our industry, but for coaches, I mean, this could Your mindset is so important in everything that you do. Whether it's doing daily affirmations to keep your mindset focused, you know, as long as you keep focused, you can literally do a lot of things and you can get a lot of things done, but it's your mindset. You know, where are you? What do you want to do? How do you want to get there? You know, keeping that straight and narrow mindset of, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is what I want to portray. This is how I want my business to be. And you say that to yourself daily. Biggest thing.
It'll keep you on track, right? It'll keep you on track if you do that. And so here, last question.
Right?
If you had the opportunity to share a message to a large group of bold beauty business owners, right? That you're like, this is just one thing that I want to share with you. You know, what would your message be? What's that one message that here you go. This, if you do this worked for me, go for it.
Oh, well, bottom line is, do not fake it till you make it. I don't care what anybody tells you. Invest in yourself, because you only have yourself, right? And here you are with your heart and passion, and you're putting everything you can into your business. But the one thing that will let you down is if you fake it till you make it. Don't fake it. Be you, be authentic. Be authentically you. Share your story. Share your whole entire purpose with your clients, because that's how you're going to connect. And number one is be your true self, and don't be afraid to share who you are, because that's how clients are going to totally fall in love with you. And they're going to be so inclined to walk through those doors and try your services that they don't even care if you're just doing a lip mask. They're there to see you first and foremost. And you honor those clients. You know, make sure every client that walks through the door, you honor them and they know that they're being honored and appreciated. Don't be afraid to show emotion. And some coaches and mentors may disagree with me on that, but I have always been successful with showing compassion, letting clients in, even if it's just a little bit. And I'm not saying you have to tell your whole entire life story.
Grab the Kleenex.
Yeah, no, you don't have to sit there and tell them your whole entire story, but you have to let them in, and you have to break the ice. And clients know if you're faking it. So even if you're just starting out, and say maybe you don't even have a year's worth of education under your belt, don't even focus on that. Not to say you have to fake it and, oh, you're so experienced and whatnot, but you can focus on what you do know until you start building and growing. None of us started like this overnight, right? And so you definitely have to just respect and appreciate that this is a journey for you, and not just your clients, but your clients also need to have that experience with you, if that makes sense. So
absolutely,
just don't fake it till you make it.
and be authentic, right? Like you said, like if someone is weird, hey, be weird. There's people that like weird people, right? If someone's funny, be funny. There's nothing wrong with being yourself. We try to hide, I think, so many of it. There's a book I read, it's called oh God, I just lost the name of it. I don't know. But it's the dark side of the light chaser. And it's just about, there's all these different parts of our personality. There's the anger, the happiness, the jealousy. We are built of so many different emotions.
Absolutely.
You don't have to just be like, hey, I'm happy all the time. Look at me. If I see somebody that's just really happy all the time, that person's like crazy weird. That's like a different type. It's like, no, please be sad.
Right.
There's good days. If you're having a bad day, you can say, you know what, I'm having a bad day, but hey, that's okay. I'm going to get out of it. But that's part about being human, is that we connect on those emotions, right?
Absolutely. Cool. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Amber, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
No, I so appreciate you taking the time out and just offering your experience, your advice. You walk your walk of not only helping people, but this information, it's not only helped me, but I hope it helps all the people that we share it with, and helps them on their journey.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't expect everyone to just lay it all out in one interview, but
We laid
there
out
are,
quite a bit. I mean,
I mean,
Dorothy,
well,
if this road was yellow, Dorothy could have walked it. You know, well, I'm telling you, this is
but
this is
it just there's so much to learn,
yeah.
it just you just don't stop. And I have 11 years worth of nonstop education, nonstop do's and don'ts and successes and failures. And that's how you grow, and don't be afraid to fail. Absolutely do not be afraid to fail. So
And experience, that's what it's funny, it's like experience comes from trying something new. You fail, you learn, you get better. That's called experience. So if someone's not willing to fail, you're never going to grow. It's just part of it. It's like, you failed, but then you move forward fast. You fail, okay, that's okay, you tweak it, you do it. And we can go on hours and hours for this, but Amber, thank you so much. I mean, again, from my heart, thank you so much. I appreciate you and your
you
time.
are so welcome. So
And I had a
welcome.
blast. So I'll catch up with you again. And you got 11 years of this. We'll have to. I think we just got year one. So this is going to be a 10-part series we're gonna put together.
And I still feel like a baby skincare therapist. I don't feel like I've been in it for that long. I still feel like I'm still growing myself. You never stop growing. Never stop learning. It does not matter. I could be in it for 30 years and I'd be like, but I don't know everything yet. Let me see if I can learn more stuff. So you never stop learning.
Yeah. Cool beans. Well, thank you so much. I'll hit you up later.
All right, Lynn.
And thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.